Hey guys, welcome to my first drive video on Audi's facelifted 2025 RS Q8. The model that we're going to be focusing on today is this RS Q8 Performance, which is a new model for 2025. A base spec RS Q8 will set you back 120 grand in the UK. A base spec RS Q8 Performance will set you back £135,500. I actually filmed a first look video on these new models in Malaga about 3 months ago. But if you missed that, let's just have a quick recap. What is new with this facelifted RS Q8? They've given us 3 new colours, including this chili red. They've restyled the entire front end, essentially. That's a new honeycomb grille. Those are new Audi rings, and these are new matrix laser lights that give you 5 different options for your daytime running lights. When we get around the side of the car, we get these absolutely gorgeous 23-inch wheels. They're the same design as the wheels that we get on the RS6 and the RS7 Performance. And aside from their looks, well, they save 5 kilos per corner, and that's unsprung weight. And then once we get around the back of the car, we have these new OLED rear light units and a new sports exhaust system. You probably already heard in the intro that it sounds absolutely epic. This model comes standard with Audi's adaptive air suspension that they've tweaked for the performance version. It also comes standard with rear axle steering and carbon ceramic brakes. When you get inside, they've removed a lot of the sound deadening for 2 reasons. Number 1, so you can hear more of that wonderful V8 and its new sports exhaust. And number 2, because it reduces weight. So we're reducing weight on the interior, we're reducing weight with the wheels and with the carbon ceramic brakes. Under this massive chili red bonnet, we'll find a 4-litre V8 twin turbo, except it now produces 640 horsepower, which is the most powerful combustion engine only that Audi have ever produced. To back that up, we have 850 Newton meters of torque, and that maximum torque is available from just 2,300 RPM. When you combine all of that power, torque, and weight saving, Audi claimed that this 5-meter long, 2.3 ton SUV will do the 0 to 62 sprint in just 3.6 seconds. It will also go on to a top speed of 189 miles an hour. Jumping inside, and it appears there haven't really been many changes to the interior of the regular RS Q8 or this RS Q8 Performance. This particular press car has Alcantara headlining, Alcantara on the wheel, in the door cards, etc. Makes it feel a bit sportier, let's say. Looking straight ahead, well, the virtual cockpit appears to have new graphics and at least 1 new display. It's the circular display where you get the rev counter and the speed in the middle, which is my favorite RS display, and it seems that Audi have started reintroducing that into their latest models, because they did get rid of it for a few years and introduce displays like the runway, which is in front of me, which I get some people might like, but I think the nicest virtual display of all RS years is definitely rev counter on the outside, speed in the middle. Simple yet effective. The driving position has always been pretty good in this model for all shapes and sizes, but what lets it down a little bit are these Sport Seats Plus, I think they call them. They're nice to look at, especially now they've added slightly different stitching and a bit more design to them, but essentially they're the same seat. They're relatively comfortable and relatively supportive, but they don't suit all shapes and sizes. They feel too small for me, and if you see, if I sit back, well, the headrest is really 3 or 4 inches too low for my frame, and I'm sure they'll fit a lot of other people, but as far as I'm concerned, they don't fit me particularly well. The car that Frank Stibler set a 7-minute 36.9 lap record, which now makes this the fastest SUV around the Nürburgring. And that particular car, well, they'd fitted bucket seats to it. And I think the reason they fitted bucket seats was, well, number one, so he could run harnesses and be safe, because when you're going for lap records around there, it can be extremely dangerous. But number two, because he just wouldn't have got enough support in these seats. So it'd be interesting to see what they're like when we get one of these out on track a little bit later. They have introduced a couple of new inlay options, so I think it's this trim here and the trim at the bottom of the dashboard there, but otherwise it's just standard Q8 and RS Q8 affair, which isn't a bad thing. This interior has been around for a while now, but I wouldn't say it has dated much, because it is just such a modern design to start with. I remember the first time I saw this, I think in an A6, and I was blown away by it, and I think it's aged really, really well. Anyway, let's get this car out on the road. I'm going to start this review with everything knocked back into comfort, because although this is an RS Q8 performance, I would imagine that the majority of owners are going to use it as more of a luxury GT daily or family car. And if you've watched my previous pre-facelift RS Q8 videos, you'll know that I'm already a big fan of this car. I actually went to the original launch out in beautiful Tenerife way back in 2019, before the pandemic, and I really, really enjoyed that car. Furthermore, when I got a UK press car a few months later, which is always the telltale sign when you take a car back to the UK and on our terrible roads, well, I was even more impressed with it. It just seemed to tick so many boxes. I've always said it's the Jekyll and Hyde of sporty SUVs. Wait, SUV stands for sports utility vehicle. I always say that. But anyway, you know what I mean. It gave you a comfortable daily. It could be a regular Q8, if you like, with air suspension, in all the comfort and luxury you could ever wish for. But when you ramped everything up and put it in dynamic, it turned into an absolute weapon. But it was never as focused and precise as something like BMW's X5M competition. That to me has always been the better driver's car in this large SUV segment. I'm happy to report that the ride quality and the daily ability of this RS Q8 performance hasn't seemed to have changed. Although the roads out here on the whole are better than what we get back home in the UK, I have been over some pretty horrific road surfaces this morning. They had a lot of rain over the last couple of days. There have been rocks and stones and all sorts up. Well, this car feels every bit as good as the car that it replaces, or the pre-facelift RS Q8. And to me, that's really important, because I didn't want them to ruin that. That's what the RS Q8 has always had over its competitors. Cars like the Lamborghini Urus, that is very similar to this under the skin, well, that car's got a shocking ride quality. And as we've already talked about, cars like the X5M and the X6M competition, their biggest downfall is the ride quality. And if you're using one of these as a big, fast family car, you don't want your kids getting rattled to pieces. And I think the fact that this high performance version of their high performance SUV rides exceptionally well still, well, that gets a massive thumbs up from me. As you'd expect, that 4-litre V8 twin turbo feels wonderful at slower speeds. It deals with this 2.3 ton SUV without any issues whatsoever. It seems like they've improved the throttle pickup a little bit. Even when you're in comfort, it just feels a little bit more urgent, which is a good thing, because I think that was something that the pre-facelift car suffered from a little bit. That initial throttle input seemed a little bit dead, but in this car it feels a little bit punchier. Obviously, I'm very aware that there's a lot more power and torque available, but the great thing with this engine is that maximum 850 newton meters is available from just over 2000 RPM. So even when you're cruising around in drive, and at the moment the car's selected 5th gear and we're doing 70 kilometers per hour, which is about 45 miles an hour, you've still got plenty of torque. and it's calibrated really well with the ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox. So we're coming through here in 5th, give it a bit more throttle, and it hasn't changed down gear because the ECU knows that there's all that available torque. So it's now pulling me up this hill with about, I don't know, half a centimetre of throttle pedal at about 1500 RPM with no issues whatsoever. And that makes it feel really chilled and relaxed to drive around. Although we know this is a fire-breathing, potentially crazy car, when you've got everything knocked back, it's just lovely. And once again, that will make it a joy to live with. Let's now ramp things up a little bit. So we'll hit the RS button on the wheel here. That'll bring up RS1, which is one of my presets. Hit it again and it brings up RS2, which is my most aggressive preset. Knock that over into manual. And let's just push on a little bit and see what this car's like when you start giving it the beans. Well, I can instantly feel that it's so much stiffer. I mean, the chassis, the suspension, everything. I'm actually getting more steering feel as well as a result. Wow, it stays so flat through these relatively tight turns. I mean, this road is probably more RS3 than RS Q8, but maybe RS Q8 performance is every type of road. Gearbox is mighty. Oh, it's just fantastic. Oh, tunnel. Oh my goodness. Well, I was just about to say it definitely sounds better from the driver's seat, but it also sounds better on the outside, especially when you got the windows down. Wow, absolutely mighty. How this has managed to pass all of those strict EU sound regulations is beyond me. It's unreal. It sounds so raw. Oh, if I had one of these, my fuel bills would be astronomical. Even the overrun pops and cracks that you get, and they're all organic from that new sports exhaust system. Oh, what a shame we've had to come to a stop. And off we go. And here we go. Right, let's not push it any harder on the public road, especially when we have a circuit nearby. I'll join you on circuit in a sec. Right then, let's test out this car's claimed acceleration figures. Audi say it will do the 0 to 62 sprint in just 3.6 seconds. My Racebox Mini is down here and ready to go. I've got all of the traction and stability aids switched off. I'm in RS2 and I'm now in Sports Automatic, so I'm going to let the box do the changing. My left foot is really hard down on the brake. My right foot is now on the floor. Launch control program activated. Here we go. Oh my goodness. That's so fast. 3.27 seconds. Wow. What? Oh my goodness. 3.27 seconds to 60 miles an hour. The world has gone mad in an SUV. Let's see what this is like out on track. I mean, how many people are actually going to track their RS Q8 performances? I don't know, but I've got a track to myself and an RS Q8 performance press car, so let's give it a good go and see what it does. I mean, its pace, well, we know it's really fast in a straight line, but the way it handles, it's just ridiculous. The last time I was on this wonderful circuit was actually with Porsche exactly 12 months ago at the Cayenne e-hybrid launch. And I was lucky enough to drive their crazy turbo e-hybrid with GT package. So it'd be interesting to compare sections if I can when I get home. But this, dare I say it, feels faster, definitely more nimble. They put a chicane along this back straight because otherwise we'll be piling into here at about 150 miles an hour. We're getting tyre squeal, but we're not getting push. I've got all the traction and stability switched off. And we're on regular P0s, so they haven't put Corsas or Trofeos on this. Not sure Pirelli makes something this size, if I'm being honest. So you can hear the tyre squeal, but thankfully I'm not getting horrendous understeer. Those poor tyres. Big speeds, big speeds. This is unhinged. Right, we've got to do a slow pit lane pass just to cool temperatures, let everything settle a little bit. Let me settle a little bit. Let me get my head around how capable this car is on circuit. It doesn't make any sense. I almost ask myself, why? Why is it so good out there? Does it need to be? Well, why not, you know? If it's good out there, then it's definitely going to be good on the public road, and definitely capable enough. Right, let's just come to a standstill here, and well, we might as well just launch it out the pit lane. Here we go. Wow. I don't really know what else to say apart from wow. You could probably see that I'm genuinely gobsmacked about how good this car is, how capable it is around this circuit. This circuit is massively undulating, so ups and downs, off cambers, tight stuff. It's more of a RS3 circuit or more of a Porsche Cayman circuit. Not really an RS Q8 circuit. That would be somewhere like Silverstone in my head, but the way it handles and deals with all that tight stuff, it's unreal. Well, now I've had some time to gather my thoughts, and well, this car really can do it all. It's comfortable, it's practical, it's got a wonderful V8 soundtrack, it's really fast, and it's really capable. And ironically, what we haven't talked about or touched upon is the fact that it's actually pretty good off-road as well. If you threw some BF Goodrich all-terrain tyres on this thing, you might need to reduce the wheel size a little bit. But with the air suspension and how much adjustment you've got, not only when you're in sportier modes like dynamic or any of the RS modes, it lowers. The opposite happens when you put it in off-road mode, and it lifts right up, giving you lots of clearance. So if you put some decent off-road tyres on it, this would be good off-road as well. It just ticks so many boxes and has such a massive breadth of ability. Really does blow my mind. Like I've already said, 5 years ago when the original RS Q8 was launched and I spent some time in that car, I remember thinking and saying that that car as a package was the best super SUV on sale. This, especially in performance trim, has moved the game on even further, and I really commend Audi and Audi RS for that. It actually makes me want to buy an SUV, and I'm not an SUV person. I'd always rather have a saloon or an estate, even a coupe. But what they've engineered into this incredible machine, it's just mind-blowing. Really is. It's going to take me a few days to get over that track experience and really understand what was going on out there. Anyway guys, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Leave any comments and questions below. Also consider subscribing if you haven't already. I need to get this car back to the hotel, but before I do, I'm going to enjoy this wonderful piece of tarmac one more time. Take it easy, and I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Cheers.